So for 7 years, you may have heard a lot about what happened to Don and Antonio Armstrong Sr., but you likely haven't heard from the prosecutors.
So they're not allowed to speak during the trial, but now all of that changes because Antonio Armstrong Jr. has been found guilty of murdering his parents. So they did sit down with Fox 26's Damali Keith, who joins us live in the newsroom after that conversation. Damali.
Yeah, you know, Houstonians have had a lot of questions about the case of 16-year-old AJ Armstrong, who's been found guilty of murdering his own parents. From what's the evidence to why was he tried 3 times to how's it possible blood wasn't discovered on AJ's shirt for 7 years. After 2 hung juries and a 3rd jury finding AJ guilty, prosecutors John Jordan and Ryan Trask are answering all of our questions.
Everybody wants a reason. Sometimes certain offenders, certain murderers, notorious murderers, there's not a reason. They just want the person dead.
That's a large part of why prosecutors say it was so difficult to convict Antonio Armstrong Jr., a 16-year-old kid accused of destroying his beautiful family by murdering his own parents, Antonio Sr. and Don Armstrong.
They were being great parents. They were doing everything they could for their kids. And people look at that and say, well, why would he want them dead?
From there, prosecutors say a false narrative was created.
And it's a narrative people want to believe. Nobody wants to believe someone so handsome and so young could commit one of the most brutal crimes in Harris County has seen in years. He walked into his parents' bedroom and shot them both in the middle of the night.
To us, the evidence was always so clear that it was him.
Some of the most powerful evidence includes the doors and windows at the home found locked. Also, the home alarm was set and no windows or doors were opened, but alarm sensors went off inside the house that early morning in July 2016.
It was so important to show that jury that he was not a typical 16-year-old. Don't even try and even understand it and understand his conduct.
Jurors also heard how Armstrong first test-fired the murder weapon, leaving a bullet hole in his bedroom floor. And
what 16-year-old pours gasoline across the top steps of their home with their parents' bedroom right outside and sets it on fire? And he did that 2 days before the murder.
Prosecutors also point to AJ saying on the 911 call he could hear ringing in his ears, common when someone fires a gun without ear protection. He never mentioned seeing a masked intruder until hours later, and 4 times during the 16-minute 911 call, he asks can he get his 12-year-old sister.
And we know based on the layout of the house, to go get his sister, he has to pass by his parents' bedroom. To never look in there, never to say, hey, Mom, Dad, are you okay?
It was just as important for Ryan and I to clear Josh's name in our community as it was to hold the defendant accountable for this crime.
Prosecutors presented text messages where AJ's mom repeatedly calls AJ a liar. Messages they say showed AJ had great animosity for his mom.
Clearly his intent going in that room was to kill his mother. His dad raises his head slightly and he's shot across the bed.
Now, as far as AJ's dad's blood that was recently discovered on AJ's shirt underneath an HPD visitor sticker, the prosecutors point out a lab analyst testified that he never checked under that sticker when the shirt was tested in 2016. The crime scene investigator who finally peeled back the sticker in June was on surveillance video making the discovery, which included a fleck of blood and dried blood splatter called expiration blood, which is usually a mix of air and blood expelled from the lungs. AJ is appealing the guilty verdict. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Damali Keith, Fox 26 News.